Hello, welcome back to Halftime TV. Naranda Brown here, your host. And as always, we have an interesting program for you today. I won't stay very long. We're just aiming for the 10-minute, 9-minute mark. But I'm here to go through the Reggae Boyz 23-man squad for the Gold Cup. Now, the Gold Cup commences in just under 2 weeks. The players are expected to be camping in Florida. The camp will run from July 1st, which is today, up until the 9th, I'm anticipating. But before I go any further, let me say thank you to my sponsors, Quick Link Shipping, RS Sports Store, and CSA Shop. If you aren't following them as yet, check out the link in the description. They have everything you need. RS Sports Store for all your sporting jerseys and apparel. They also have the Reggae Boyz new kit for as cheap as 9,000 Jamaican dollars. Now let's get to it. For goalkeepers, we have Andre Blake, we have Barnes, and we have Dennis Taylor. There aren't any surprises there. We expected Jaden White to be among the fray just for that bit of experience. But again, Jaden White is still very young. He has all the time in the world. I personally would have loved to see Jaden White among the setup. But again, it's just one of those things that happens, and it's part of sports. You bounce back and you come back better. But again, Jaden White is the only disappointment from that. And as I said, we didn't expect him to be among it. It was more from me a hopeful thinking for the most part. For defenders, we have Amari Bell, we have Fisher, we have Michael Hector, Kemar Taxi Lawrence, Damian Lowe, Adrian Mariappa, Liam Moore, Alvas Powell. Now, news broke earlier this week that Ethan Pinnock would not make the trip because he was focusing on preseason with his club that recently got promoted to the English Premier League. There were some questions that arose about loyalty and the priorities of these players. I'm not one to dwell on that. Again, I think we should be fine without Ethan Pinnock, and as much as he would have contributed significantly to the defensive unit that we have, great leadership and all of that, I think we have enough with these names that we have here. Damian Lowe, Kemar Taxi Lawrence, right there, it's over 50 caps between them. So I think we have enough experience in the defense unit to take us through. It's not a worry for me. Mariappa, again, Michael Hector. It's surprising to see Michael Hector listed as a defender. He generally is a bit more versatile. We know he's been played in midfield in the past. So again, for those who didn't like to see Michael Hector among the fray, he's a mainstay. And I said that before. No matter what happens, Michael Hector will be in the 23-man squad. He's done enough with the Reggae Boyz team to guarantee himself a spot in the team. All right, I think the coaches, they trust him. They've been there with him before, and he's one of those lieutenants that has done it before for the coaching staff, and they can lay their trust in him because they know what to expect. All right, moving on to the midfielders, we have DJ, DJ, we have Johnson there, Tariq McGee. Again, Tariq McGee, there was a question mark over his name as well. Ravel Morrison, his visa issues going into the United States. There was a bit of controversy there because he experienced some challenges in attaining his work permit for the United States. Now, just for a bit of clarification, Ravel Morrison still has a British passport, so he could travel to and from the United States if he were only going to visit. However, because the Gold Cup is considered work, he needed a special visa to allow him to go into the United States to work. And that was the challenge that was facing Ravel Morrison. That's why there was doubt over his name. But it's good to see Ravel Morrison among the setup. There's Lamar Walker, there is Speedy Williams, and there's Junior Fleming. Again, no surprises there. Junior Fleming, he's a very versatile player. He's one that I personally, when we were constructing the teams a few weeks ago, I had question marks over his name as well. But his inclusion cannot raise any concerns whatsoever because, again, he's proven himself time and time again. And last season in the USL, he was one of the best players there is. He actually made the top 10 list with 10 goals and 9 assists. So again, his work ethic on the field is being replicated in his statistics, and that merit has earned him a spot in the national team. Leon Bailey, Corey Burke, Javon East, Shamar Nicholson, Bobby Reed and Blair Turgott. These are the attackers we have. Now, I did a video a couple of weeks ago, maybe just over a week ago, saying English-based players will be left out of the national squad based on passport issues, and I was chastised for it, saying I was spreading fake news. Now, there you have it. Andre Gray, as I alluded to in my previous video, he did not make the list, and we know what the reason is. The JFFA came out with the 60-man list. The 60-man list had Mikel Antonio on that list, and again, I think the federation knew that Mikel Antonio could not make the 23, because at the time that the list was constructed, Mikel Antonio was in Greece, and there wasn't any news whatsoever that stated that he had returned from Greece to clarify the issues that were being experienced with his documentation and the processing of his documentation. So I, for one, did not expect Mikel Antonio to be a part of that list, because the information that was provided to me prior indicated that he was in Greece on vacation and he could not make that list. As it relates to Andre Gray, it was said that he was close to getting the documents done, because I don't want to misquote anyone. However, it seemed quite unlikely that he would make the deadline, and here we have it. Andre Gray isn't a part of the fray. Nonetheless, I think we have more than enough of the 6 attackers that we have. Bobby Reed and Blair Turgott playing their trade in England. Shamar Nicholson over there in Europe. Javon East in Costa Rica. Corey Burke, who's had a hot vein of form for the past 2 or 3 weeks or so. He's been setting the MLS on fire, and he's been making a statement for himself over there at Philadelphia Union that he should be in the starting lineup. But Corey Burke, it's good to see him among the setup as well. He wasn't a part of the trip that went to Japan. He's had a torrid few years as it relates to visa issues, work permit, to and from the United States. He did a short stint as well over in Europe, but he's back in his comfort zone in the MLS, and he's kicking the goals in over there at Philadelphia Union. So it's good to see Corey Burke in. I think he deserved this selection. Leon Bailey, he recovered from a broken toe that he suffered at the back end of last season with his club Bayer Leverkusen. So it's good to see Leon Bailey in again. So overall, I think the names that we have here, quite a talented set of players. Again, my issue hasn't been with talent. It's always been about cohesion and players gelling. Blake hasn't played with a number of these players. Leon Bailey hasn't played with a number of these players. The same with Shamar Nicholson. The thing is, the past 2 or 3 friendlies that we've had, we haven't had all these players together, and that's the issue that we've been experiencing for the longest while. The players haven't played together. They're good names on paper, but again, football isn't played on paper. It's who shows up on the day, and if we don't have that level of chemistry with the players, with a lot of these players, it'll be the first time that they'll be playing next to one another. They'll be camping for 8 or 9 days, which should be okay, should be good, considering why is Jamal Lowe not in his documents. I'm not sure as yet. I won't say, but I'll do a little bit of research, and Tennessee, I'll provide that information in the comment section later on today. But again, as I said, the list that we have here, usually it's eight defenders they need going into a tournament. Generally, they go with 8 defenders, 8 midfielders, and 4 strikers. But here we have 8 defenders, we have 6 midfielders, and we have 6 strikers as well. Our team has been touted to be top heavy. I think it's a good balance here. Also notable inclusion. Lambert, he's not among the setup as well. It's a decent squad considering the other squads. Yeah, I think it's a good enough squad. My only problem, as I said before, was the cohesion, how the players will gel together. They'll be meeting for the first time, a lot of them in Florida, if not today, maybe tomorrow the latest. But the information that I received stated that they should be camping in Florida from today up until the 9th. So let's see how that pans out. But as I said before, the notable exclusions from this: Ethan Pinnock, Jamal Lowe. There is also I can't even say J. Dean, because as I said, J. Dean was more of me being hopeful. but overall, Lambert as well. He's not among the setup. Those are personally the ones that I think we will realize that are missing from the setup. Nonetheless, players have priorities. There are some who, as I said before, indicated that they're prioritizing preseason. Let's see what happens when when the World Cup qualifiers comes around. And again, it's about dedication. I was the one who came out and said players need to prioritize the national team. And if they're only coming to the national team after being rejected elsewhere, then I am not for it. I need 100% dedication to the national program. And for those players who opted to do other stuff because the Gold Cup wasn't as important, I'd like to see what happens when the World Cup qualifiers comes around. And as I said, I'll keep lobbying for the local players because when the World Cup qualifiers comes around, it will be their opportunity to prove themselves. And some of these persons who are acting as if we are begging them to play for the national team, then they should be shoved to the side and give those locals the opportunity. But nonetheless, again, I'll go through the list. Goalkeepers, we have Andre Blake, we have Dylan Barnes, we have Dennis Taylor. In defense, we have Amari Bell, Fisher, Hector, Kemar Lawrence, Damian Lowe, Andre Mariappa, Liam Moore, Alvas Powell. Alvas Powell again. He recently signed with Philadelphia Union. He's featured I think 2 times so far, looking fit, looking ready. But I think he won't be as sharp when it comes down to match time. But we'll see. Alvas Powell, he's a very versatile player. I trust in him, and I believe he can get the job done on the biggest stage. He's proven it himself before. In midfielders, we have DJ Johnson, Tyreek McGee. Tyreek McGee had a practice game earlier this week as well. Again, these players are looking fit. People may say Tyreek McGee hasn't played in however long, but we also need to bear in mind he's been training with players who are playing at the highest level. So he might not have that much fitness, but the mere fact that he's training with these players would have given him an edge over some of the players who haven't been active for 14, 15 months in the RSPL. All right, so I hope that nullifies the argument. Ravel Morrison, again, he's looking to go to India to ply his trade. There was issues with him and the US work permit that has been resolved, so we can expect to see Ravel in the United States playing in the Gold Cup in a few weeks' time. Lamar Walker, Dwayne Speedy Williams, Junior Fleming. That makes up the list for the midfielders. And finally, for the attackers, Leon Bailey, Corey Burke, Javon East, Shamar Nicholson, Bobby Reed, and Blair Turgot. Again, Javon East gets in. I think he gets in because Andre Gray doesn't make the list. But nonetheless, Javon East has been doing remarkably well in Costa Rica. And he deserved his call-up. I can't think of anyone else who should have been included instead of Javon East, considering the circumstances with Andre Gray. All right. There is a level of hypocrisy with us, the fans. But again, as I said, it's does he have the relationship with the fans to pull off such a stunt or to come up with such an excuse? The fact of the matter is, Leon Bailey, he's played for Jamaica at the last World Cup. He's contributed to Jamaica in the past, so he has that. How do I put it? He's earned that little bit of credit or leeway to do that. So whereas I can agree with you to an extent, Demo Dre, I must say Leon Bailey has the experience with the national squad to back it up. Ethan Pinnock is yet to represent the national team, and considering this would be his debut competition, the excuse, in my opinion, it's not justified. Sorry, but if you haven't subscribed as yet, folks, please remember to hit that subscription button. Just a quick video, as I said before, later on today, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'll be doing an interview with Jamon Shepherd, Harbor View and National Youth Standout. I'll be doing an interview with him. I'll be discussing the squad as well. So I hope I'll see you guys then. Remember to hit that subscription button. Thanks again for all your love and support, and check out the sponsors in the comment section as well. All right, let me know what you think in the comments, folks. Is there anyone that you didn't see a part of the list that you'd love to see? Is there anyone that you saw a lot in the list that you wanted to take out? Let me know. All feedback is necessary. And remember, folks, no news is better than wrong news. So for all those folks who have been coming forward and been putting out stuff, saying this and saying that, again, credibility is key, folks. You don't want to smear reputation when it comes down to credibility. So remember, no news is better than wrong news. All right. Next thing that I want to urge on you guys: bad news travels at the speed of light. Good news travels at the speed of molasses. All right. So bear that in mind. It wasn't the JFF's fault why the list was only being released today. Today was the day for the list to be released. Up until yesterday, there are a number of teams that hadn't submitted the list. The JFF had submitted our list long before. All right. So again, folks, thanks again for the support. Thanks for the love. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, remember, later on, 9 p.m. sharp, right here again, we'll be interviewing Jamon Shepherd. Miranda Brown again from HalftimeTv saying, peace out.